If anyone by the end of this webinar would like to have a conversation with your team, get those accounting and tax related questions answered, or you need your lodgements done before the end of financial year, we have a fully tax deductible offer with 30% off for everyone to claim. If you actually already have an existing plan with us, I understand some people in the webinar already have accounting or legal services with us. If you're looking to upgrade your current plan or looking for additional services, you can also type in yes in the chat, and we'll have some options and benefits lined up for you also. But that's actually enough from me. I'll hand things over to you guys.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Lee. I'm a senior client manager at Port Business. So a bit about myself. So I've spent over 10 years in the world of tax and business advisory, helping small and medium-sized businesses in Australia to navigate the often challenging tax landscape in Australia. So over the years, I've gained a deep understanding of the unique challenges that startups and small businesses face on their everyday life and their work life. So I have also had the opportunity to work with a diverse range of clients from different industry, which has allowed me to gain a deep understanding of how businesses can leverage their business and tax regulation to benefit themselves from a startup phase to fuel their growth in the future. Personally, I love tax and I'm keen to share my knowledge and insights to empower entrepreneurs like you. And my goal is simple. It is to demystify tax. It's, may sound complex, but we can always make it very simple and easy to understand. I hope that today, Sid and I can provide you some, useful, actionable strategies, some action to follow, and that will make a difference to your business. Thanks again for joining us today. Let's dive into the world of tax and explore some tips together.
Beautiful. And yeah, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to use the chat function or the Q&A function so that we can answer any nail-biting questions at the end. So yeah, as Lee mentioned, we will be covering a few things to do before the end of the financial year, and also give some tips on common pitfalls, where the ATO is focusing on, and very importantly, how LawPath can help in that function, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So Lee will start going through navigating tax time for startups and small businesses.
All right. So today we'll explore the essential actions to prepare your business for the upcoming tax season. We'll focus on compliance, efficiency, and what can you do to leverage your business. So first step, I think this is the most important thing that many people may underestimate. So having your document organized is crucial. It's super important. So things like all your invoices, your contracts, your employee record, all these bank statement, you must have it organized. It is funny enough, it's like from our experience, right? We work with many people. Some have very good record that not only help your business function better, but also help you reduce your accounting fee too. That is something that I don't think that many people have, share. But if you have it organized, your accountant will love it, will save them a lot of time, and in turn will save you fee as well. And I think fee is very important for small business and startups because every dollar you save is every dollar you gain, right? So yeah, that is probably the number one key thing that I like to stress, first and foremost for everyone.
And this can be simply as keeping, a document or an Excel spreadsheet on your computer. Bank statements is a great way to see, what's going in and out. And then just if you're running the bookkeeping yourself, that's quite good because you get a great understanding of depth about what's happening in the business. But if you're not sure how to record some of these transactions, like should it be this type of expense or this type of income, that's something that you can note in the document that you prepare, and that's something that you can quickly go through with the accountant at the end of the financial year. So you don't have to look back and dig through, hundreds of transactions and figure out I forgot what that was back in, September last year. So it's a good practice to do it as you go. It'll make your life easier as well. And, most importantly, hopefully bring down the fees as well.
Just also to add, besides the practical side of thing, it is also a legal requirement that you have to maintain your financial document to ensure that you can have, substantiation to claim your deductions. And, should there be any question from the ATO, you can quickly get them out and, show them that these are legit. And that would, make your life a lot easier in the long run too. All right. Next thing, which is also very important, is accurate and timely reporting of the year-end lodgement. So there are two things I like to focus on. Number one is for those who's got employees. It is very important that you finalize your payroll and lodge or report to the ATO by the 14th of July. So that can be done via a single touch payroll. And this function is available in your, accounting software such as Xero, MyOb, or QuickBooks. It is very important because your employee would rely on this info to do their own personal tax return as well, and it is also a legal requirement that you have to get it done so the ATO have info to cross-reference and data matching. That's very important. The next thing is for those startup who's got ESS, which is employee share scheme, you also have to lodge the statement by the 14th of August, and you have to provide the statement by 14th of July to your employees. That's very important.
So if you do need any assistance with meeting these deadlines or just not sure, there'll be a link towards the end to book in a consult so that you can chat further with us about it if you need help.
Cool. All right. Next thing you have to be mindful of is BAS reporting and super obligations. So BAS, I would say usually is quarterly lodgement for smaller size business, but there is a deadline for it, and you should be able to prepare your accounts and prepare in advance before the due date. So if you lodge it by yourself, it is usually the 28th day after the end of the quarter you have to lodge it by. If you have a registered tax agent, then the tax agent has an extra 4 weeks to lodge for you. But I usually recommend you get your BAS done 2 weeks after the end of the quarter, so that way you can plan your cash flow. So you know how much GST you have to pay, how much PAYG you have to pay, and it's a good practice to get it done on a regular basis. The next thing you need to know is super. Super is an area where the ATO focuses on heavily. So it is very important that you pay your staff super in time. The due date is the 21st day after the end of the quarter. So it is crucial that you make payment, I would say 3 or 4 days before the due date. That allows time for the money actually hit the super funds account. That's very important. Okay, next we move on to some common pitfalls in ATO focus area. Number one thing we see and the ATO also focus on is the overclaiming of deductions, or just omitting incomes or poor record keeping, which we have mentioned earlier. So when you claim deduction, there's two things that you might need to be absolutely clear about. Number one is what is really related to your business and what is personal. So an example is a car. You could have a car that you use for work and personal. So the correct way to do a thing is, let's say a very simple example is that you can claim the car deduction in your business, but you have to add back some personal use, because if you don't do that, then usually the ATO wouldn't like that, and it could become a starting point for them to start auditing your account, asking question, and then that could move on to other things. So it's very important that if you're unclear about things that could be either use for business and personal at the same time, I recommend talking to your accountant, your professional advisor, to see what would be the best way to manage that. There's always a solution for something, but how do we manage it is more important. Yeah.
One thing I'd add there as well, yeah, the enemy of any business is time, of course. So to Lee's point, having records, in place, ready to go if the ATO request it is very important, because we have seen clients in the past where, the ATO have requested information, and then ATO haven't heard from them 2 weeks, 4 weeks, just because, just not being able to get in touch. That has allowed the ATO to consider that as a risk factor and might look deeper into your account. So, coming back to step one, record keeping, super important.
All right. Next one, we'll go through some, ATO resources and support that's available to taxpayer. So, overall, the ATO offers a variety of tools and guides, such as the tax time toolkits to assist small businesses. These are educational resources that you can rely on to guide you through the process of managing your business and tax. To some people, it may look and sound a bit complicated. So if that is the case for you, I recommend talking to a professional, such as an accountant, to have a simplified understanding of what you need to do. Usually, your good holistic accountant would be able to break down, hey, here are the steps that you need to do. Just seems very simple, simplified steps. We'll start with something very easy to follow, and then when your business grow larger, we can add more complexity to it. Otherwise, if you are more of a DIYer, then these resources are available to you. Just a quick Google search that will come up, and it's very comprehensive. There's a lot of info that you can utilize from these resources.
Yeah, and one thing before we move on to the scintillating topic of deductions and claims, another tip for your business, because cash flow is one of the most important things to help the business become sustainable and operate well into the future and achieve your financial goals. With those badges that we were talking about before, they do happen usually every 3 months, right? And usually a tax liability arises from it, from the GST you've collected from your sales. Sometimes, like, business owners might, overlook the tax liability that arises. So say 10,000 came up and you've paid for all the other expenses but forgot to manage cash flow for that liability. One tip you can take away is very simple to action with your bank. You can just easily create another separate bank account, and you just can call it tax savings or however you want. And then just make sure that every sale that you bring in, or every week, however you like to do it, you're putting some aside to meet that liability. So for GST, every 3 months, that's 10% on any sales, less expenses. So, roughly 10%. And then as for the end of year tax, tax, income tax on your company, it's going to be a flat rate of 25%. So as a hypothetical, say the company made a profit of $100,000, 25% of that, 25,000, will be a tax liability that you'll have to manage. So on top of that 10% that you're putting into this nest, bank account, you could also be putting 25% of the sale for that tax account as well. This will help you manage cash flow in the future and not have to, stress too much or scrounge around for funds to meet those tax liabilities as they come due. I found that recommendation very, helpful to a lot of our clients at Pop Business, and something for you to consider. Not too difficult to do, but I think it'll alleviate a lot of pressure and stress come tax time. So let's jump into a very good portion of our segment today, deductions and claims. So Lee's produced a few handy tips and tricks that you can consider for tax time.
All right. So to maximize your deductions, again, we have to be very clear on what's business related and what's personal use. So for business related stuff, it does not necessarily have to be money that was paid out of the company's account, for example. It could be expenses that you have paid on behalf of the company. So for example, that, if at one point the business was low in cash and you have to use your personal fund to fund for something, say for example, pay for insurance or car or something, you should keep a good record of that, and you can claim that deduction in the company. The way to do it is usually you can claim a deduction through the account, or you can put it in as a loan from yourself to the business. Your accountant will be able to advise you on what is the best way to do it. And also, I have to stress again that it's very important to keep a good record of the expenses that you're claiming if you're paying on behalf of the business, because that is something that the ATO will look at. If the money is not coming out from the business bank account, you need to have receipt and supporting document to claim it, because usually if you're going through as a journal entry to the account, it's not a strong substantiation. So you need to have receipts to support it. You need to know whether you can claim GST, or what is it really about. So that is very important to claim deductions.
And don't worry too much, because this is a common occurrence. A lot of businesses, they might not have their business card with them, or they might just forget and then pay it through their personal credit card or debit card. Just keep, as Lee mentioned, just keep a record of that, because most likely you'd want to claim those deductions in the company. So yeah, just don't forget about those. Otherwise, you might lose those deductions that you would otherwise get. So yeah, keeping a good record is important.
Cool. Next thing you need to know is the deadlines for lodgement, and when to seek help. So usually for self-lodger, you must lodge by end of October. However, if you are using a registered tax agent, this deadline would be extended, and the deadline will be dependent on the size of your business and your lodgement history as well. It could range from October to May the following year. So usually, I think it is a better choice to have a registered tax agent who can go through the accounts for you, maximize your deduction. Usually for our clients, when we do the year-end account, besides maximizing the tax, we'll also look at the business holistically. We want to see what the business owner wants to do in the upcoming year so we can plan for it. So for example, if you are also planning to borrow money to buy property or invest in other things, we understand how the buying would require your financials and tax to look at, so we can help you make sure that the financials and tax return looks presentable, your personal and business tax and financial position looks good and strong for that application. So these are very important. And also, let alone if you get an extended lodgement due date, it is a great help, because you can have your accounts prepared early. So let's say for 2024 financial year, right? You can have it completed and drafted by, say, end of October, but you won't have to pay until May the following year. So you have enough time to plan for your cash flow. So an example is, if you have a $10,000 tax payable for your company and you know it by October, you have another 6 months to plan your cash flow so you can pay it in May if the due date is 15th of May, which is very popular and very common for many businesses.
Yeah, and I thought would like to add, an important thing about running your business is being proactive. Try not to procrastinate. I know it's easy, for your personal or your company tax to just put it off. Definitely don't do that as much as possible. The team at Pop Business are here to help and getting things going for you. So if you're falling behind, the best time to get in touch is now. And the reason why I say that is, historically, ATO have been quite lenient with penalties and late lodgement fees and interest. But given after the COVID event, they've become a lot more strict in making sure that companies adhere to the tax compliance deadlines. So I am seeing a lot more late lodgement fees, higher interest rates applied for any tax liabilities that haven't been paid. So managing this on time and planning out the cash flow so that you can focus on your business, and let the professionals do what they do best in terms of advice and getting this done for you and getting you a favorable outcome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Sid. That is, the advice that we usually give our client. Being proactive is super important. If you can manage your own book, as often as you can, do it. If there are issues, don't just step away from it. You should ring people up and start asking questions, start asking for help if needed. The longer you delay it, the worse it may get. So again, my advice is being proactive, get your accounts up to date, always have document organized, have it ready. That would save you a lot of time and hassle in the future.
Yeah, and I think the financial year is only 24 days away now, and one of the best services that we can do at Pop Business is the tax planning. So if you have a very profitable business and not sure what to do with it, definitely have a chat now because time is running away. Or if you just need to help figure out from 1st of July, what should we start to think about? We can share templates, cash flow projections, like simple versions. If you have vehicles, logbook templates, so that you can help manage your tax deductions around cars. But yeah, I think not too much time left, but we're here to help. So yeah, we'll pass on to Connor. Lee, did you have any last comments for our portion of the presentation?
I think we cover everything. Look, we'll pass it back to Connor, and we're happy to answer questions if there's any.
Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, just to reiterate that if you guys have any questions in relation to the webinar and some of the things Lee and Sid have spoke about, go ahead now and actually ask that question in the Q&A chat box, and we'll cover it shortly. But even if there's something maybe unrelated to today's topic, or if you have any other accounting concerns, I think we'll have time if anyone wants to add that in there as well. Please go for it. And obviously, if you do need to speak to someone or speak to Sid and Lee about your upcoming lodgements and getting your house in order, as they've I think stressed here, time is of the essence. You can still go ahead and type yes in the chat bar, and someone can speak to you and basically help take care of everything. You may want to look at, if we just go to this slide here. So this is our most comprehensive package with LawPath. So I've included some of the other hot topics that we cover with this subscription, and in a nutshell, you get unlimited consultations with our award-winning chartered accountants. You may already have an accountant, but look, if we are going to be more convenient and more cost-effective for you and your business, perhaps consider keeping all your legal and accounting under one roof. But we've included some of the hot topics we discussed. So I think tax planning, tax minimization strategies, probably one of the biggest hot topics people want to discuss with the accountants. A dollar saved is better than a dollar spent, whether that's through tax concessions, tax deductibles. You want to make sure every cent for your business is being funneled back into your business, and less of it maybe going to the ATO. Obviously, lots of tax advice around specific types of tax. So GST, PAYG, crypto is interestingly now included there, and capital gains, just making sure you're lodging or applying for those correctly. And if you have any questions around the nuances there, they can assist you with that. Payroll processing and reporting payroll to ATO. I actually saw, I think on the ATO website, it's something around 28% of businesses do that wrong each year, which is quite alarming. So I think it really pays to get some advice or just get someone to do that for you. And everyone here can also get advice from them on bookkeeping and accounting software queries, specifically with Xero and MyOb. We'll talk a bit more about that on another slide. But if you actually are quite new for a business and you haven't set this up, you can actually get the accountants here to guide you through organizing your way around that bit of kit, and handling anything like invoices and bookkeeping. We can go to the next slide, guys, if you want. Just wanted to add in some additional sort of high-level advice and services that we provide here. I don't know if you two wanted to speak a little bit to any of these or anything else that is quite popular with some of the businesses we're dealing with that they want to get some advice around.
Yeah, so this high-level advice sits outside of the legal and accounting advice plan. So this is where pop business accountants can really add a lot of value. So trusts, you might have heard of them before. Family trust, what that basically is a flexibility vehicle to ensure that tax positions and tax payable can be managed effectively, legally, and ensure that you get the right outcomes there. Company registrations, if you're not confident in how to do this process, the team at Pop Business will help you through that as well. If you have an SMSF, we can assist there. And especially if you're, at the last bit, business structure and restructuring, if you're a sole trader moving into a company or you're a company moving into multiple entities, we can guide you through that process in a tax effective manner. Try to minimize capital gains tax where applicable through the relevant ATO legislated tax concessions, and just make sure that the foundation is the most important thing, in the business, so that you can achieve your financial goals at the end of the day.
Awesome. Was there anything you wanted to say there, Lee, or we can jump to the next one?
Cedar's covered everything. Thank you.
Oh, good. Also, we've talked a lot about the upcoming lodgement. So we have the tax compliant add-on. It's as it says on the tin, so they can do all your BAS statements, annual tax lodgements, and financial statements there, all the important stuff, all the stuff that you've got to do each year just to ensure that your business is ATO compliant. And you do also get a sort of special fiscal year consultation to run through anything in terms of, I think, expenditure and cash flow and project things going forward. So really quintessential to have those conversations if you're trying to set up your business for success. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Lee. Yep, that is on the tin. Just a final reminder then, if anyone would like to book in a consultation or claim the subscription offers that we have there, please type yes, and someone can actually reach out and even do a demonstration of the platform or get you booked in for that first discovery call, which in a nutshell is an opportunity to outline your business to any short-term and long-term goals, obviously discuss any pressing legal or tax issues you feel like you're faced with, or anything that you don't know what you don't know. So most importantly, explore any legal gaps in your business that you're not aware of, just to make sure as we do approach that 30th of June that everything's in order. And just a final piece actually. So what will happen, obviously, with anyone claiming their tax compliance, these guys here at POP will actually reach out to you next day within 24 hours to conduct a general assessment, and basically sussing out what's going on with your business, prepare for any upcoming lodgements. You guys typically will ask obviously a few questions on what they have, where they're up to, and just kind of fill in the blanks, and basically just let them take the wheel, and ensure that nothing's going to sort of figuratively bite you in the ass of any interest on late lodgements and all that good stuff. And finally, we also have a MyOb deal here as well. You guys can get 30-day free trial and 50% off on MyOb for the next 11 months. As Lee mentioned, is actually you're legally required to have some sort of accounting software for your business. And MyOb's been excellent with a lot of small business owners. The accountants here can also help you set that up and give you a bit of a tutorial on how to effectively use it. My understanding now is actually already started to implement some AI tools there. It's linked to your business bank account. It does a lot of the work for you when it comes to your payroll, online invoice payments, and your inventory. Okay, so obviously, if we haven't said it enough, this June we've got a 30% lifetime discount on our subscription fees. So it's literally the offer you'll get this June is what will be set in stone going forward for your business. And as I mentioned, unlimited consultations, all your lodgements, and you actually also get access to our 500 legal documents templates. These have all been drafted by our team of commercial lawyers, and we keep them up to date with Australian legislation.